Men, this will shock you. Not because it's loud, not because it's dramatic, but because it's happening quietly, in relationships right now. And most men don't even realize they're being psychologically punished. When people hear the word violence, they imagine fists, shouting, physical damage. But psychological violence is far more subtle and far more dangerous. It leaves no scars on the skin, only on the mind. Some women use a form of emotional pressure that slowly dismantles a man's identity, confidence, and sense of self, while making him believe he deserves it. It doesn't start aggressively. It begins gently. Small comments disguised as concern. Why are you always like this? You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. Over time, these words shape perception. The man begins to question his own reality, his own judgment, his own masculinity. This is not love. This is control. Psychological violence often hides behind emotional manipulation, silent treatment when you express boundaries, withdrawing affection as punishment, playing the victim to avoid accountability, and the most dangerous weapon of all, guilt. You're made to feel selfish for asking for respect, cold for wanting space, wrong for refusing chaos. Eventually, you stop voicing your needs entirely, not because you don't have them, but because you've been trained to believe your needs are a problem. This is how dominance looks when it doesn't shout. Some men stay because they think endurance is loyalty. They confuse emotional suffering with commitment. They believe that if they just try harder, love will return. But what's really happening is slow psychological erosion. Your opinions become smaller. Your confidence becomes quieter. Your presence becomes cautious. You learn to walk on emotional glass. And the scariest part? You start normalizing it. You call it relationship issues. You call it stress. You call it just how she is. But deep inside, something feels off. Your energy is drained. You second-guess everything. You feel like a stranger in your own life. This is the cost of unchecked psychological violence. A sovereign man understands something crucial. Love should not make you shrink. It should not silence your voice. It should not make you afraid to be honest. Strength in a relationship is not submission disguised as peace. It is mutual respect, emotional safety, and balance. Now here's the truth most men need to hear. Manipulation only thrives when you abandon your boundaries. Control only succeeds when you surrender your clarity. And the moment you begin to stand firm, calmly, without anger, the dynamic changes. Because psychological violence feeds on emotional weakness and fear of loss. When you reclaim your internal power, the manipulation loses its grip. You stop explaining excessively. You stop apologizing for your existence. You stop begging for emotional decency. And in that moment, something powerful happens. You remember who you are. A man is not meant to be ruled by emotional chaos. He is meant to operate from clarity, self-respect, and grounded confidence. Some will call it cold. Some will call it distant. But the truth is, it's called self-mastery. And self-mastery scares those who rely on control. If you recognize these patterns in your life, understand this clearly. Awareness is not weakness. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. You are not cruel for protecting your peace. You are not heartless for demanding respect. You are not wrong for refusing emotional manipulation. You are becoming sovereign. And once a man becomes sovereign in his mind, no form of psychological violence can rule him again. This is sovereign mind, where men stop surviving emotions and start mastering them.